All right, everybody, and welcome to the Mostly Sports Talk Show for Sunday, August 10th. Excuse me, guys. I got to clear my throat a little bit. That's right. Today's Sunday, August 10th, Sunday morning. And we got a lot of stuff going on today. Listen, both of our baseball teams are absolutely struggling. And when I say struggling, I don't know if either one of these two teams are going to get out of it. But I can tell you one thing: there's one team that's got a little bit more of a chance to get out of it than the other, and I'm going to explain that later. The NFL preseason is here. I don't know. I don't really care about the NFL preseason. I mean, Joe Beningo from The Fan a long time ago said that it was like drinking non-alcoholic beer. I tend to agree. I mean, a lot of these young players get out there and they get to show what they got. A lot of these first-round draft picks come out there and they show their stuff. And a lot of a lot of the veterans and a lot of the guys that don't need too much work, they pretty much sit around and cheer their teammates on. But preseason football, I guess it's pretty good for the fact that you're going to get your, you're going to get your reps. You're going to get hit, real time. These guys are top of the line athletes, man. I don't think they need a preseason football game to get themselves psyched up to go murder the quarterback in week one or to throw 4 touchdowns. It just has to happen. But I understand. I understand there's a lot of marketing involved. I understand there's a lot of money. I understand that these tickets cost money. So they got to keep these stadiums afloat. But at the end of the day, I think the preseason is pretty much a bullshit version of bullshit version of practice, I guess you would say. So yeah, NFL preseason is here, and the spotlight is going to be on one player who I'm going to explain later, and that one player absolutely killed it. Yeah, we're going to talk about the WNBA. I know a lot of people don't like to hear about the WNBA, but we got a lot of stuff going on. We got Caitlin Clark, we got Angel Reese, we got dildos on the court. What the hell is going on down there? They want more money. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And the president's physical fitness test. You guys remember that, right? Well, it's back. I'm going to get into that too. Everybody out there that doesn't like President Donald Trump, you know what? The man's playing chess and everybody else is playing Parcheesi. We're going to get into a little bit of that statement there as well. New York City. What the hell is going on down there? I know I got to beat up the place where I grew up. I got to beat up the place that's turning into a socialist, communist state. But we are going to get into that. And the socialist, communist leader is pretty much a hypocrite, I guess, maybe. Or I don't know, man. This guy's just trying to get votes. And at the end of the day, I think this guy's, at the end of the day, he's a piece of shit. And he just wants votes and he wants everything to be given away. So we're going to get into him as well, too. And I got one thing to say out there. My old partner, E-Dubs, if you're listening, and I don't know if you really do, because I know you don't like the touchy subjects, but when are you going to stop with Juan Soto? How about you talk about your baseball team? How about you talk about your baseball team that probably won't make the playoffs this year? So if you want, I can invite you on the Mostly Sports Talk Show. We could talk Mets and Yankees. If you want, I can really tell you how much I don't care about where Juan Soto plays. So if you like, there's an open invitation for E-Dubs to come back and have a conversation about Mets and Yankees with me, because I could tell you one thing, E-Dubs, at the end of the season, the one team definitely has a better shot at making the playoffs than the other. All right, guys. So we are going to start off with the Mets. Now, everything's out of here today as far as my Mets go, as far as notes, as far as records, as far as everything. This is just going to be an outright rant on the New York Mets. I feel like that we're watching a team that we used to watch when we had no hope. We've lost 9 out of the last 10 games. Our pitching, can these guys get past 5 innings? Supposedly we get these arms come in. Supposedly they're going to show us something, right? They're okay. They plug up some holes. We have 2 ace closers. We got Helsley. We got Diaz. Diaz is pitching phenomenally this year. When he has a chance to close baseball games, that means when the Mets score runs. Juan Soto's batting under 250. Lindor hasn't hit anything. Big Pete, 5 RBIs the other night. You know what happened with your 5 RBIs? Nothing. You know why? Because nobody else on the baseball team could hit that night. And let's be honest, Pete, you haven't been doing too well either, man. You've been striking a lot in big spots. I mean, look, when you thought your job was in jeopardy in the beginning of the season, when Mets are talking about getting Vlad Guerrero, Vlad Guerrero is a pretty good player, and he is playing his ass off right now. He's earning every single dollar of that $600 million that the Blue Jays gave him. But there was a sigh of relief on your face the night that you realized that Vlad Guerrero signed that contract. You were playing out of your shoes. And at this point in time, what I witnessed those first 2 or 3 weeks of the season is a man that was kind of worried about leaving the Mets. Are you still a man that wants to renegotiate with the Mets? Are you somebody that wants to make as much money as these big time first basemen, these big time hitters? Now let's do something about it, Pete. You're in a lineup right now surrounded by Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto. I know on paper that sounds good. That sounds like a scary lineup. Neither one of those guys are really doing much. Look, Juan Soto hit a home run the other night. Pete hit a home run the other night. Lindor broke out of his slump a little bit, went 6 for 13. Now he's back on a downturn. Look, I love Lindor. Nimmo struck out 6 times in a row. Now, look, I understand that they're playing the Milwaukee Brewers right now. And if you want to ask me, the team that's on fire right now, and that's the Milwaukee Brewers, and Jackson Chirio's hurt. So that's a scary baseball team. I mean, to lose right now, so far, we got, we're 0-2 for the weekend. But listen, we got Mania pitching today. But I have no faith in the Mets even winning this game because I'm looking at a baseball team that's starting to kind of give up. At this time last year, there was excitement brewing in Citi Field. At this time last year, we were like, holy shit, this team's going to make the playoffs. Mets right now are playing like a bad baseball team. The Mets right now are playing like a team that last year I was like, you know what? Mets are down by 10 runs. They might come back. Lindor's going to get a big hit. Somebody's going to get a big hit. Pete's going to get a big hit, big play. This team seems to be kind of, I don't know if it's a chemistry thing. I don't know if somebody needs to talk to them. I don't know if somebody needs to throw the equipment bag. I don't even know if somebody needs to punch somebody in the face. But I got to tell you one thing. Runners in scoring position. The percentage of Mets hitting with runners in scoring position is the lowest in the league. Juan Soto's got a bunch of home runs. He's got some RBIs. Juan Soto's batting 150 with runners in scoring position. Sean Manaea comes back a couple of weeks ago, pitches pretty good, strikes out 6. Bullpen comes out, shits the bed. When one side's playing well, the other side can't. But you know what's happening right now? Both sides aren't playing well. This Milwaukee Brewers series right now is a huge series. Like I said to you guys in the past, I don't give a shit when they play the Red Sox or the Yankees or the Royals. Look, and the Guardians got swept by the Guardians. I mean, look, the Guardians aren't a bad baseball team. And that's really the only time that it really matters, when we get our asses kicked by another team in the American League. Somebody said to me the other day, we just can't seem to beat the American League. Well, if this team wants to win a World Series, we're going to have to face one of these teams in the American League to win a World Series. This team needs to get off their asses and try to realize that last year wasn't just a hoax. Last year, I saw a team that came together around this time and showed us something. There's people coming to the building. There's people cheering your team on. There's people cheering my team on. I find myself this year more than last year trying to take a break. Watched a little bit of the game last night. Watched none of the game the other night. I didn't watch any of the games last week. So I find it's kind of like I have this relationship with the Mets like I've experienced in the past, and I've told you guys in the past. It's kind of like, long time ago when you had that girlfriend you were with, or, it was all great, and it was just, got a little boring, or it got a little annoying. I mean, you knew you guys were going to get back together eventually, but at the end of the day, it's like you just need a little bit of a break. And I find myself taking my second break of the year. And I'm going to go back, obviously. And the reason for this break is not because I'm not a Mets fan. As a matter of fact, I think that the reason I'm taking this break is because I'm a huge Mets fan. And there are times when I can't look up at that screen, and what I'm watching is a baseball team that had so much faith in the beginning of the year. A baseball team that 17 years ago, I asked my son to put faith in as well. And the two of us just watch these games in horror to think that, look, the Yankees got 27 World Series. If you're a Yankee fan right now and you're around the same age as my son, which is 20, got 1 World Series. You're a Yankee fan that's around my age, you got a lot of winning. And listen, there were some lean years too. Sorry, guys, I got to take a drink here. All right, like I said, there were some lean years as well for Yankee fans, but for Met fans, it seems like one big history of long lean years. I thought this year was going to be our time. And you know what? I still think that this year is going to be our time. When I say our time, I mean we are going to pull our heads out of our asses. We are going to have some kind of meeting that we don't know about because at the end of the day, I got to be honest with you, I don't really care what goes on in that locker room as long as somebody is telling them that they can win. Somebody is grabbing a equipment bag and smashing it against the wall. Somebody in that locker room needs to get pissed off. Somebody in that locker room needs to get up there and hit somebody, smash somebody in the mouth. One of these pitchers. Oh, you want to hit a home run off me? I'm going to go Bob Gibson style on you. The Mets need an attitude right now. The only attitude they have is on a 60-day DL, and we're not going to see him. That's Jesse Winker. It's got attitude. Tells you to go fuck yourself. Mets don't have that. Love Francisco Lindor. I tell you all the time, Francisco Lindor is probably one of my top 2, top 3 favorite baseball players ever. There's one drawback to him. He's everyone's goddamn friend on the field. What happened to going out there and just being fucking mean to each other, whether you're friends afterwards, whether you go get a drink afterwards? You were out there to beat each other. You were out there to win a game. So I'm going to talk about a couple of players that best of history that were assholes. But the main focus of them playing that sport, it's a competition and win at all costs. This team has to have a win at all cost mentality. Again, Francisco Lindor, I love you. You're not going to get that killer instinct by smacking your friends in the ass on the other teams and say, what's going on? I understand it might be a little bit of banter. Maybe I understand that that's what happens, when you go play baseball outside of the United States of America. But the last time I checked, baseball is a competition of who's better, and the only thing that matters is the win. As a matter of fact, the win matters so much that there's players on that team that could play like shit. But if that one guy does the one thing that you need to win, he's the hero. That to me, guys, is why baseball is the best and most beautiful sport ever created. And I'm going to say this not in a condescending way or not in a way to offend anybody who doesn't like baseball, because if it's not your sport, it's not your sport. But to sit there and watch the mental war between two coaches, the mental strain of what should I do? What is this guy thinking? The batter and the pitcher. You ask a lot of athletes these days, what's the hardest thing to do in sports? They'll tell you to hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. The focus that it takes, the split-second decision. Am I getting a breaking ball? Am I getting a fastball? Is it going to be high? Is it going to be low? Inside? Is this guy trying to hit me? There's not even a second to make that decision to swing that bat. And the focus that has to happen on that baseball field. Now, I have friends that don't like baseball, and they tell me that, oh, it's boring. No, it takes too long. Well, they made a couple of rules, and they got rid of a couple things to make the game a little bit quicker, which I actually like, the pitch count and stuff. But to say baseball is boring, it's fine. Those are normally guys that are big football guys. Even big basketball guys think that baseball's a little boring. Yes, hockey guys. Hockey guys thinks everything's boring. Because hockey's hockey's a man sport, man. Those guys are tough motherfuckers. And again, I know I keep saying that I wish that I could get into hockey. I need to know the players. Watching it on TV, I get a little lost. A lot of the Slavic players, a lot of the Canadian players, a lot of the Russian players. But I tell you, one year I am going to make it my point to learn the game a little bit and follow my beloved Islanders. That's right. I said I'm an Islander fan. I stopped watching hockey back in 1982. That's how far back I go back with hockey. But back to baseball for a second. I could sit there and watch a baseball game, 1 through 9, critique it in my head, sit there with certain friends who can do the same thing. Me and my son could watch a Mets game and talk about it the entire game. My dream is to be out there and call a baseball game. Now, I understand that a dream is calling a New York Mets game in the booth with Gary, Keith, and Ron. I don't know if you're out there listening, guys, and I don't know, maybe I could get this video to you, but my dream job is to be in the booth with Gary, Keith, and Ron and calling a baseball game for my beloved New York Mets. But along the way, I will take some job offers from local teams, minor league teams, high school teams, any team out there with a baseball team that has competition. There's another team coming in, feels that they need to get the word out there, feels they need to have their game broadcasted, feels like they've never had their game broadcasted before and they want to have a broadcast that's going to bring some fun to it. That's me, guys. Eventually, one day, I'm going to get there. You're going to hear my voice, and I am going to be shouting from the rafters because, again, baseball is the sport that I love and the sport that I'm passionate about. I watched my kids play. I followed my Mets since I'm 4 years old. And that's how I feel about baseball, guys. So anybody out there that needs a good broadcaster, a passionate broadcaster, drop me a call. Hey, you never know. This might get out there to the right person. Tried it with the Hudson Valley Renegades, but they never got back to me. Maybe you guys are out there looking for somebody too and trying to go in a different direction, but give me a call, guys. I know you got rid of that other guy, Zolzer, there, and he's not too happy. But hey, listen, whatever. He's off on to bigger and better things from what he says on Facebook. So, but I do think Heritage Field needs a voice on the radio or voice on a YouTube channel because they got some pretty good players there. They're with the Yankees. I think I could add a little spice to it. So, Heritage Field, Hudson Valley Renegades, Yankees, whatever you guys are now, give me a shout. I'm ready. So that rant went into my Mets rant, went into my baseball rant. I want a broadcasting job, and I want to get to the Yankees a little bit. That's right, the New York Yankees. Less and less I'm seeing the Yankee fan, Met fan hate out there because both of our teams are in the shitter right now. So irregardless of how both of our baseball teams are playing and how I think the Mets are going to make the playoffs and the Yankees are going to be watching from the couch, that doesn't come from a place of Yankee hate. It comes from a baseball perspective of somebody who's observing the baseball game, observing the game that I just explained to you how much I love. Aaron Judge is a big part of that baseball team. When Aaron Judge isn't in that lineup, that baseball team is significantly worse. Now, if there's any Yankee fan out there that wants to discuss that point with me, I'm happy to. But Aaron Judge is the main component that makes that Yankee team run. The other component is on the bench right now because he's hurt, which is Garrett Cole. They could really use him this year. 2 Cy Young candidates possibly with Max Fried pitching really well. Max Fried pitching to like a 10-5 or 11-5 something is a candidate for the Cy Young. That's almost like Jacob deGrom, like back when the Mets, when he had a under 500 record and he won the Cy Young. But the Yankees are in trouble in a lot of aspects because the Yankees do stuff on the baseball field that seems to be like they're not even really paying attention. Now, they're going back to basics by saying that errors lose baseball games. I'm not going to rehash the fact that I feel Aaron Judge dropped that baseball last year in the World Series. It set the tone. Errors destroy baseball games. Errors destroy focus. Errors destroy momentum. Look, I understand there's every once in a while where a ball gets by you. I understand every once in a while where you make a bad throw. Then they come like Chuck Knobloch and you're hitting Rudy Giuliani's mother in the face with a baseball. You know, it's time to like rethink your sport or to go to like see a psychotherapist or something. It's not getting to that point yet with the Yankees, but it is getting to a point where it has to be a little alarming to the fact that they can't throw the baseball to first base. They can't catch routine fly balls. Now, look, they got good players on that team. You know, you saw Grisham last night bail them out with a 2-run home run. You know, that's something that Aaron Judge normally does. Stanton's forced to play the field. Now you got 2 major hitters in that lineup, and they both have to be the DH. You're going to put Aaron Judge back out there in the outfield and force him running 100% because that's what the guy does. Can't take that away from him. Even if he's hurt, if he's, if he's favoring something, he still goes out there and he plays 100%. You know, is he going to get hurt again? I don't know, guys. Aaron Judge is the best baseball player on the planet right now. His swing, his focus, his attitude, even though I wish he would have a little more of a kick-ass in-your-face attitude, but, according to Yankee fans, that's not how he chooses to lead. But he's hurting. And so is this Yankee team. Stanton can't do anything but hit. He runs like a robot. He could barely track a fly ball. But he's there to hit home runs in the playoffs. So with Judge hurt right now, that's putting a little damper on what Stanton's trying to do in his career. Is whatever it is, just hit home runs. Remember a couple of years ago in that Boston Red Sox series in the playoffs when Stanton hit that ball almost through the Green Monster? That's all he's there to do. Aaron Judge is there to be the best player on the planet, and that means playing the field as well. So if you're, Otani does the same. Otani's basically a glorified DH. He's pitching okay right now, but Judge has to be 100% for that baseball team to succeed right now. And again, I understand that, their starting pitching is a little lacking, I guess you would say. Maybe Yankee fans will disagree with me. Maybe they won't. I actually think the Mets have a better starting rotation than the Yankees do. Cashman, genius, right? Maybe. I mean, the day after he made those genius trades for that middle relief, which is going to solidify that Yankee rotation and is going to take those Yankees to the promised land this year. Not so much. Not so much. Players coming back. When these guys get sent down, Bird. A different closer now. I really think that Devin Williams was destroyed by Pete Alonso last year. Destroyed. If anybody wants to argue that point, he's a different guy. This is your closer, Devin Williams? Not anymore, from what I understand. Bardot, I guess his name is your closer. Goldschmidt making errors all over the place. He started off really hot. He's not playing too well right now. Jazz, what's up with Jazz? Plays good one day, plays terrible another day. Next thing you know, he's up in the booth talking shit. I like that part. The talking shit part I love. But this Yankee team is not looking like something that Yankee fans are used to saying, it's my birthright to have a championship, or it's my birthright to win a World Series. It's not a Yankee team that's showing that to you guys. So you have to go out there and say, well, at least we're not the Mets, and start all that big brother, little brother bullshit. Look, I explained to you guys a couple of weeks ago that big brother, little brother is bullshit to me because you guys have been around a long time. If you want to use that analogy as big brother, little brother, yeah, we are the little brother. But when the little brother starts to win, and when the little brother eventually outshines the big brother, it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem with the fans. So why not Yankee fans, Met fans, come to the realization that we need our baseball teams to win their divisions and represent New York in the World Series like it was supposed to be last year. Mets are struggling. I think there's a possibility that they find that niche, or they find that safety net before the Yankees do. Unfortunately, I don't think the Yankees are going to have enough firepower to beat the Red Sox or the Blue Jays. Blue Jays are on fire this year. Shane Bieber, they picked him up at the trade deadline, solidifying that pitching rotation. Vlad Guerrero, it seems like he hits a home run every single day. These Blue Jays are here. I know they're Canadian, and I know a lot of us don't like that. I wonder what would happen if South Park drew the Toronto Blue Jays with all those flappy little heads. I don't know if you guys saw the South Park episode with Trump. Trump had a flappy head, which was weird. I think that's what South Park considers Canadians, with their flappy heads. So drawing Trump as a Canadian. How about this? The Toronto Blue Jays win the World Series this year, and they accept next year at the White House, and they all have flappy heads. That'd be kind of funny, I guess. I'm getting a little off topic now. So at the end of the day, I got to say that I think the Yankees definitely need a lot more oomph, a lot more, shit in their tank for a playoff run, more than the Mets, because the Mets just got to get their shit together, and they got to all start hitting. There was a game last week where they scored 12 runs. Again, wasn't watching, but you know what? The top of the lineup hit, and the guys at the bottom, the guys that are the role players, the guys that get the little hits, to get the bunts, they steal the bases. That's right. Stealing bases in baseball is becoming a big part of the game again. Big part of the game. 5-tool players are becoming relevant again. Baseball's changing a little bit back to the way it used to be. We're still going to hit our home runs, but there's these players right now, these young guys like Nick Kurtz, A couple other guys, I got to be honest, I don't even know their names. But there's some young players right now that are playing really, really well. And they're not that big, but they're fast. They hit doubles, they steal bases, and they play the field like they love the game of baseball. Baseball is becoming fun again, guys. Not that it has been fun the last couple of years. Everybody's getting over. It's been years and years and years and years since that steroid debacle. I think Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player that ever lived. I'll say it again. Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player that ever lived. It's an absolute crime and a shame that he is not in the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's a pick and choose who you want. Watched an interview with him the other day. Asked what if he was facing Satchel Paige. Without skipping a beat, he says, gone. Take him deep. Do your research a little bit about Barry Bonds. He wasn't all steroids. If you listen to him, how he explains his love of hitting, or how he sees a baseball, how he plays with the pitcher, with his positioning, with his feet in the box, how quick he snaps his hands. I mean, look, maybe steroids makes that ball go 500 feet, 600 feet, as opposed to whatever. A lot of people say he's a Hall of Famer anyway in Pittsburgh. He was an average guy. Had a little bit of a green envy streak in him about McGuire and Sosa, which kind of maybe, messed up his chances to get into the Hall of Fame because, that obviously led to steroids and whatever. But baseball is changing, man. And guys like Barry Bonds, I guess at this point, you're going to put your name on the ballot every year. But do these guys really want to even just be recognized anymore? Because the amount of shit that's going on in these sports right now, there's people gambling again. This Class A case. What's going on with that? From what I understand, they're betting through FanDuel or DraftKings about first pitch strikes or not. I don't know about you, but Class A is one of the better pitchers, premier pitchers in Major League Baseball. He's got his cousin in wherever, the Dominican Republic, popping bets on his first pitch strikes. That's not good for baseball. It's not good for gambling. That's not good for baseball. I mean, everybody wants gambling to be fun. It puts money into into the pockets of a lot of these teams. And look, you want to bet? That's fine. It is fun. It really is. At the end of the day, it's fun. You can sit there. I even sit there with my son now. We just throw a couple bucks here and there. I bullshit with my buddy Brian at work all the time. My buddy Brian's betting on $2 here, $3 here, home runs. But there's a serious problem out there when then you can have somebody signing up for accounts and have players that could affect the outcome of a game. Throwing games. Well, not even really just throwing games, because you could bet on certain little bullshit little aspects of the game too. So that's another thing that's in its infancy stages as far as the gambling aspect and bringing it to the stadiums and, bringing the two together. But human element is always going to be in it. If you have a person that's got a criminal mind and there's a way that they could, skew the outcome of a game where people can win a lot of money, probably going to happen. And I'm still suspect about Ohtani and his boy there. Did Ohtani's boy take the fall? We'll never know, because Shohei Ohtani is a superstar. He's clean cut and he's a robot. So I don't know. We'll see about that. But baseball, guys, it's a game that is a marathon, not a sprint. And right now we're about 20 miles in. We're about 19 miles into this marathon. There's a lot of teams that are playing well out there. So, baseball, Yankees, right? Mets, right? Lots of good teams are playing out. The Dodgers aren't the pure favorite anymore, right? But what we do have here is, all right, I'm going to switch the baseball here. We got to switch the baseball up. We're going to do a little NFL now. Now, just reluctant to start. I was a little reluctant to start with the NFL because I wanted to go into another story, but I'm going to combine the two kind of. You got NFL preseason football, like I explained to you guys. NFL preseason football to me is like non-alcoholic beer, like Joe Meningo said back in the day. I don't feel these players play 100%. But I want you guys to take a look at what Shador Sanders did the other night. Now, look, you're going to say that it's the first, preseason game of the season, right? Who are you playing against? What defense are you playing against? To seeing what they got. Let me remind you that right now, Shador Sanders is the fourth string quarterback on that Cleveland Browns football team. So, yeah, he played. And yeah, he played well. I don't know if anybody watched his mechanics. He had that snap of the arm, snap of the shoulder, threw the ball hard, got off to a little bit of a rocky start. He ran. Okay. His numbers, these aren't too bad, right? 14 of 23, completed 60% of his passes, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Had a 30-yard pass. Everybody's hating on Shador Sanders because he's got a pedigree with his father. Everybody's saying his father is going to get involved in his everyday life. He's going to be a pain in the ass. His father, if he was involved, I don't think that Shador Sanders would have been playing for the Cleveland Browns. And watching the way the kid played on the football field, what was it, last night? Showed me that this is a kid that's here to prove something. He's already got the attitude. He's not scared of the media. I watched his whole press conference last night after the game. He was poised, spoke well about his teammates, spoke well about his offensive line, about his running backs hitting the holes hard, about his defense playing well. They asked him one question about a tweet from his father. And he says, I barely got back to him. It's like, enough, leave the kid alone about his dad, which, it's going to be a narrative throughout the season, which is fine. But the best thing that this kid could do right now is go in there with a chip on his shoulder. You want to be flashy, you want to get up there last night and talk about all the guys in prison that were watching you. Maybe that was a flex. I don't know. But one thing is for sure that if Deion Sanders meddles anything in this kid's life, it's going to be to tell him win at all costs. Because that's the mentality of men and women that have come into these leagues. And that's the only thing that matters to a high-level athlete. High-level athletes are going to get their numbers. But winning at the end of the day is paramount to these people. Winning is paramount to Deion Sanders, Tom Brady, Derek Jeter, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Caitlin Clark. Win at all costs, and that's what separates you from the rest. Does Shador Sanders have that separation as win at all costs? Does he have that kind of Pat Mahomes elusive, get rid of it? No, he's a little bit more, he needs to be poised a little more, maybe. Maybe, listen, yesterday was the first time that kid went against an offense, an NFL offense, other than practice. Played at Colorado, shitty offensive line in Colorado. Cleveland's offensive line is okay. Jerome Ford running the football this year. Hey, not bad, right? He's got Deontay Johnson, right? Jerry Jeudy. He's up against Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco came off the couch 2 years ago and, threw for an insane amount of yards. He's old, but if he's got to play, he's going to play. It's Shador Sanders' job right now to beat those 3 guys out. And what we're going to be talking about in week 1 with the Cleveland Browns is this kid really isn't that bad. Why did we wait? Why do we give this kid, such shit and draft him so late and make him feel that way? Because he's got an attitude? Because his dad's got an attitude? Because they thought he was going to be a pain in the ass? We got to teach him a lesson? We're going to be talking about this kid and that's going to be a distant memory. We're going to talk about this kid as a quarterback that's ready to go. May not be ready to win right now. May not be ready to go to the playoffs right now. But a situation in Cleveland that's never won a Super Bowl. It's a loser city. Not a loser city. It's a loser city when I mean sports. You got your stupid LeBrons from there, and you give the Cavaliers a championship. The Indians have been okay through the years. I call them the Indians. I'm sorry, guys. It's the Guardians, but I'm calling them the Indians. Cleveland needs a voice in football. That dog pound needs something to cheer about. And the way fans are, the way they turn their backs and they come back, people are going to talk shit about Shedeur Sanders right now. But you know what, though? First week of the season, he throws for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. People are going to absolutely love him in Cleveland. He is going to be the dog in Cleveland. That's what's going to happen with Shedeur Sanders. Look, I'll eat my words, but I watched a football player play a football game last night who's ready to play against NFL players. Shedeur Sanders, you could tap yourself on the back, pat yourself on the back, however you want. You could go up there and be confident with the media, say stuff that's out of pocket maybe. It's going to happen. But just go out there and play football and shut the haters up. And try to bring the Cleveland Browns some kind of respect, because that's what I think you're going to do, dude. Talked about Shedeur Sanders. Let's go into the NFL a little bit preseason, which, like I said, the only really thing that I want to really talk about with preseason football was Shedeur Sanders. But I watched my football team a little bit last night. Aaron Glenn was adamant about first team coming in and playing. Look, they won the game last night, 30-10. I peeked in. I was out last night. A friend of ours, Aiden's best friend, is in a band, and we went to this place called Hurricanes up in Poughkeepsie, and we watched the band play, and I got to tell you, they were phenomenal. But the game was on in the back, and when there was a break with the band, I'd peek in. So Justin Fields scamper in for a touchdown. The stuff that's going on the Jets right now that has to change for this team to win more than 5.5 games is what their over-under is right now. Breece Hall, 3 rushes for 9 yards last night. What's the matter? You think you're too good? I know he only had 3 rushes. I thought the first team was going to get most of the carries. Braylon Allen had 33 yards last night. That's going to be my number one guy. You better watch yourself there, Breece Hall, because you didn't show us nothing last year. Are you going to quit on us? Are you not going to be Breece Hall that we thought you were going to be, catching passes out of the backfield? Look, you got a running quarterback right now. You got a guy that could take off at any time. He's got a pretty good arm. He's got some receivers to throw to. But you're being called out by me as a Jet fan, Breece Hall. You're being called out right now as somebody that I thought was going to have a major, major effect on this offense. You are a major setback for this offense, as the whole offense was last year. Believe me, I'm not saying the Jets played. I am not expecting anything from the New York Jets this year. I'm expecting to go under 5.5 games. What I do want to see is I want to see some fight out of this football team. I want to see what Aaron Glenn said the other day, which he doesn't say much, but basically what I got from that press conference is just fuck around and find out. Because he's a tough guy. He's tough on the men. He came from the Detroit Lions where he ran that defense. So, and didn't quite get to the promised land with that, as a defensive coordinator. He's an ex-Jet. Loves Bill Parcells' mentality. Bill Parcells' mentality was basically just be hard as he can on you. Maybe this is what he's going to do. Maybe the Jets just need an ass kicking. Maybe they need a coach to tell them that you can win football games. Maybe there was a time last year when Aaron Rodgers just needed to be told by the coach to shut your mouth. This is what Aaron Glenn's going to do. Sauce Gardner, another one. You're being called out. Aaron Glenn was a tough cornerback. Aaron Glenn is going to be all over your ass this year. If you're not covering the number one receiver in every single football game going forward, I don't give a shit if you lose 8 in a row. You are the number one guy. You're the number one cornerback on this football team, and you are supposed to cover the number one receiver. Let's get to work. Let's start tackling. You're not Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders didn't have to tackle anybody 95% of the time because he was either intercepting the ball or blocking it. He was special. You're not. You got to hit people. You got to cover people. You got to catch the ball when it's being intercepted. You have a lot of pressure on you this year. Football, the NFL, is a pressure cooker. And you got to come to play this year. I don't want to see you giving up on tackles. I don't want to see you giving up on passes, giving up on interceptions. You're a man. Play like a man. So Brees Hall and Sauce Gardner on this football team are two players. As a Jet fan, I want to see you guys toughen up, and I want to see you guys play good football this year. Again, I'm not going into this NFL football team like I normally do as a Jet fan and saying that it's the Jets' year. We're going to win a Super Bowl. La, 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 la. No. The Jets are going to suck this year. The Jets are going to give me nothing to watch again on a Sunday. I'm going to wind up changing the channel to Red Zone. Maybe following the Cleveland Browns, like I said, Shedeur Sanders. Why not? Do it to our fans every year. They don't give us nothing to cheer for, nothing to be happy about. We had Aaron Rodgers on the team 2 years ago. Through the years, we've had players that were supposed to make a difference on this football team and didn't. We've had first-round draft picks that were supposed to change the world out of football in 2 years. I understand the fact that you scout these players, you don't know about injuries, you don't know about this, you don't know about that. Find heart. Find it in yourselves to win football games this year. The fans are going to talk. We're going to argue back and forth. We're going to say, oh, you guys suck, and when you win, we're going to love you. That's the way the fans are, man. Get out there and be tough and win some football games. Justin Fields, you already started out on the wrong foot with me as a football fan. Got to show me something. You collapsed on that field a couple of weeks ago like you were shot in a drive-by shooting. You dislocated your toe. That's not tough. That's not a quarterback that's going to tell me, I just got my bell rung. I'm going to grab you in your face, Mac, and tell you, you didn't hit me hard enough. And then go out there and throw a 40-yard touchdown pass and go punch him in his face. We do not have that quarterback at this time because you dislocated your toe and you were carried off the goddamn football field. I thought you had to have your leg amputated. So every year, positive, 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 positive with the Jets. This is the year I'm going in with an attitude and a chip on my shoulder about football season. Show me something, Jets. I cannot be a guy that leaves his football team. I could be a guy that watches the NFL, which is fine, and I'll always love my New York Mets. But be a team that does it for yourselves first and give us as Jet fans something to watch, and something to play, and something to look at. I refuse to go into another season thinking that you guys are going to actually do something. 5.5 wins, over, under. You guys will be lucky if you get 3. Giants, on the other hand. Giants aren't that good either. You know, Russell Wilson came in. Russell Wilson's got the football behind the center right now. What do we see from Russell Wilson, really, in his career? We saw Russell Wilson play really, really well in Seattle, right? You know who was in Seattle? Pete Carroll. As soon as he left, he became a mediocre, middle-of-the-road, okay quarterback. Went to Denver, was laughed off the field at times. Bo Nix came in, took his job. Off to greener pastures. Goes to the Steelers. Beats out Justin Fields, ironically, for the quarterback position. Steelers just can't get over the hump because Russell Wilson is not Seattle Seahawks Russell Wilson. Moves on. New York Giants sign Russell Wilson. Now, if it's the coach he's looking for, I guess he went to the right place. The only other place probably would have been the Raiders with Pete Carroll, where he's comfortable. Geno Smith got that slot. Is Russell Wilson going to be the answer for the New York Giants winning more than 10 football games this year? No. They're at 5.5 also. I don't know, Giant fans. Is Jackson Dart going to be your starting quarterback week 5, week 6? Is Russell Wilson going to have a last-ditch effort to show people that he could actually play football and that he wasn't a product of some kind of offensive scheme? That he wasn't the product of maybe good play calling? because he's part of the Giants football team right now that has one of the most electrifying wide receivers in football right now. And if he doesn't get the football this year, he's going to start getting pissed. Malik Neighbors is electrifying on the football field. And if he doesn't have somebody to throw him that football, he's going to go Tyreek Hill on their ass. He's going to start talking shit about the quarterback. He's going to start saying, I did my job. And look, he'll have every right probably to say it too, because he came into the league and he was instantaneously one of the best wide receivers in football. He thought that he was going to the New York Giants. The pride, the winning tradition. Defense wins football games. We're going to kick the other team's ass. Our offense is going to kick their ass. They're going to beat them up. We have big tight ends. We have fast and strong running backs. Ever since you guys drafted Daniel Jones from Duke in the first round, Giant fans are like, what the hell are you guys doing? Because I don't know what you guys are doing. But Dabo's got a quarterback now. Dabo's got a kid in Jackson Dart that he could mold, make a project. He's got somebody right now that he's got an attitude. And I like that about the kid. You got to come in there with attitude. You got to come in there with pride. You got to be in there with confidence, saying that you're going up against grown men that have played this game on a high level and getting paid to kill you. That's how you have to play this football game. Shedeur Sanders, maybe you got it. Maybe you don't. I hope you do. Jackson Dart, maybe you have it. Maybe you don't. But that's good. It's going to separate you guys. So that's really all I want to get into about the NFL right now, because, like I said, it's preseason. My football team is going to be my football team, what they do. And to be honest with you, again, like I said, I don't even think they're going to win 5 games. Giants, on the other hand, I would take the over with the Giants. The Giants actually don't look too bad defensively. Abdul Carter looks like a beast. He looks like he is Lawrence Taylor-like. You don't say Lawrence Taylor. He's a rookie football player that was playing in college last year, and now he's throwing around grown men on the field. That's what Giant fans have to get excited about. Jackson Dart, maybe a year or two, but Abdul Carter is who you guys have to get excited about this year, because Abdul Carter, it's your time to shine. Now, I heard a comparison the other day, and look, you guys are probably going to punch out now because I'm going to go into a little bit of the WNBA, but I'm not going to go over scores. I'm not going to recap, what's going on there. I'm going to go into the fact that somebody made a good point the other day on social media, or a podcast I was listening to the other day. Caitlin Clark is injured right now. And I guess the Fever is still winning basketball games. But again, I'm not here to tell you guys about the win-loss percentage of the Indiana Fever or the Chicago, whatever they are, or how many people are even coming to these games. What I am going to get into is the fact that Caitlin Clark is being targeted. She's injured right now because the fact that she's better than the 80% of the women in this league who are African American. It's an 80% league, which is fine. But the reason that she is getting the beating that she's getting is because she's the best basketball player in the world in the WNBA. And I'm going to say something about her right now that, listen to what I'm saying. She is the most dominating player at her sport at the moment out of anybody in professional sports. There is nobody that dominates her specific sport over anybody else in the league but her. 80% of the league is made up of Black women. 20% is white. Now, again, this racial disparity is not the thing I'm talking about. What I am talking about is a couple of years ago, maybe 25 years ago, somebody named Tiger Woods came in on the scene. Tiger Woods came on the scene with confidence. Maybe he could be misconstrued as a little douchey. He would sit there and just tell you, I'm here to win. That's nothing else mattered to him. But the narrative was Tiger Woods is coming into a white league, golf. Predominantly, look, and let's go back to history. And I guess it's still today. I don't know. It's absolutely crazy to me, but there was a time when black people and white people couldn't even play golf together. I mean, that whole dynamic is crazy to me, still to this day, but that stuff happens. That stuff happened and it's still going on. Look at this fight in Cincinnati the other night. Yeah, that was black and white. There's a visual with people. Rather than go up to people and get to know them or see who they are. People, there was a visual created at some point in life where we can look at somebody and wow, they're a different color than us. So they must be different. Let's not talk to them. Too much of that. It's got to stop. I know it's easy to say, people are going to look at me right now and say, I can't believe you're saying that. Try being this, try being that. When is it going to stop, though? When is it going to stop that we have to polarize color in this world? We have to polarize something as silly as that. Not look into the fact that what's going on with Caitlin Clark and what happened with Tiger Woods. And you name other players that broke barriers. Jackie Robinson, the biggest one. You say they're breaking barriers, right? Because of the percentage of people who are a certain ethnicity in certain sports. How about human beings are playing these sports and Caitlin Clark is the best WNBA player? Not the narrative of she's being beaten up because she's white and she's the best in the world. Though I do think there is a lot of truth to that. It's got to stop, guys. She's hurt right now. She's not able to push her team forward because of the fact that her body probably can't handle it anymore. I mean, she was getting a little chippy this year, which is good. Last year, she didn't say a goddamn thing. She got knocked down. She got protectors on her team now. Don't fuck with her now. Let her back on that court. And you know what? Keep beating her up. That's fine. Keep doing it. Because you know why? Because everybody sees it now. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody knows what agenda is being pushed. Everybody knows Shaquille O'Neal, you're embarrassing yourself with this Angel Reese garbage. How do you put your stamp on her? She's a mediocre basketball player at best. And I know nobody's watching the WNBA. I get it. Look, man, Caitlin Clark's making $84,000 a year. The number one salary, I don't even know who she is. She makes $250,000 a year. WNBA has a $1.5 million salary cap, and they have to use 1.35 of it. I think that's something that should be going on in the other salary cap markets too, because that doesn't leave room for let's just keep the money. But as long as you keep pushing Caitlin Clark away, as long as you stop pushing your star player who's going to get you guys those $1 million contracts, supposedly there's a collective bargaining agreement coming up at the end of the year. They want more money. Look at their shirt. Pay us more. Her shirt should have read, pay me more. The fact that the attendances go up. People aren't coming to see, I know I keep bringing up Angel Reese and picking on her, but she's one of the main vocal assholes about all this. Her teammates are finally coming around on her. But again, she's hurt. And I know it sounds like I'm sympathizing with her. I'm not really even sympathizing with her. I'm just like, give this chick a shot. Michael Jordan, when he first came into the league, the Pistons were the bad boys. You went up against the Detroit Pistons, you will go home with at least one black eye, one punch in the face, one elbow to the ribs, one kick to the nuts, to the balls. It's tough. Michael Jordan gained 25 pounds of muscle. You know what he did? He beat the shit out of him that next year. And I think that's what Caitlin Clark's doing. She's just getting better and better and better. Sam George, I just realized that, to be completely honest with you, and I'm going to work on that. I got you, man. Just trying to do my thing. I'm doing a little research. Cease and desist. My show's that good? Do you think I have something, some competition? I don't think Barstool knows anything about me, my brother. But if you do, hey, that's fine. That's going to be a little more popularity for me. So yeah, maybe they could cease and desist me. That's fine. But let them contact me, and that'll just be a conversation I can have with them. So hope you enjoy the content. So anyway, Caitlin Clark. I'm gonna actually I'm gonna get away from that for a second because I think I went off on the WNBA a little too much now. But what you really got to know is that the difference is between Caitlin Clark and Tiger Woods is nothing but really the color of their skin. But the two of them came in and dominated their sport, and people couldn't handle that. And that's what's going on right now. You know what? You want to pay these women more money? They're getting more views. Look, I really don't watch. I watch here and there. I watch when she's on the TV. But if, the Sparks are playing somebody or whatever, I'm probably not going to watch. But you know what? Listen, you guys are going to have a walkout next year, a lockout. You're going to demand more money. Good luck, ladies. Good luck. Because you guys are going to need it. Fortunately or unfortunately, sports is a male-dominated viewership. Men watch sports. Women don't. And unfortunately, there's a small portion of men that watch the WNBA. But when something that's going on like this is happening, trying to push the stars, trying to push the teams, listen, I'll get on board with it. I'll get on board with the WNBA. Give us something to watch. Don't complain. Give us a better product to watch. And that, at the end, is where you're going to actually flourish. There you go. So the WNBA. What do you guys think about it? I don't think about it much. So we've come to a point in the mostly sports talk show that we're going to get to the not sports part of it. So this part of the show is going to go into me giving my opinions about a couple of things that I've seen this week. If you guys know me out there, I have some pretty strong political opinions about what's going on, but just ranted about sports for an hour. I think you guys could give you a little bit of the mostly part of the sports talk show. Physical fitness. I'm 53 years old. I went to high school in the 80s, to grammar school in the 70s, grew up in Queens. Remember that day when you show up at high school and run that mile? Yeah. Oh, shit. That sucks. Guys, we got to run the mile today. Yeah, run the mile today. And the coach or the teacher wouldn't let you slack. Even if you had to walk, you would still walk. No one would sit down. It wasn't optional. It was statistics that were taken down by the schools to see if kids are healthy. Kids could actually do certain amount of physical things in a certain amount of time. That's all it is. That stopped in 2013. Started in the 50s. Everybody remembers that. Even there's jokes. Remember when I used to climb the rope in gym class? So Wayne's World joke. But the fact that President Trump is bringing that back and incorporating it back into the school system, the minute I say the name Trump, if you like him, let's go. Let's listen. If you don't like him, there he goes, talking about Trump again. But can we focus on the one thing that I think is good about this? It's going to make kids think about maybe running, getting on their bike instead of sitting on their phone, maybe social media. Maybe they're going to, maybe they're going to exercise a little more because maybe they can't run that mile in class. And they're going to say, you know what, next year I'm going to get my time down. Or maybe they're going to join the track team because they didn't realize how good they were. Well, maybe they're not going to really do that good at all. Maybe they just going to do it and accomplish something. But at the end of the day, it has everything to do with getting these kids moving, getting their blood going. Instead of their fingers and their eyes looking at that screen, worrying about who's talking shit about them, worrying about talking shit about that person, worrying about the new trends on TikTok, worrying about the new trends on YouTube. I'm doing it right now. I got a YouTube channel. I'm also 53 and grew up in an era where we were out all the time. Stickball, handball, baseball, everything you could think of, we were out in the streets. 30 kids out there on a Friday night, 20 on a random during the week in the summer. Winter, you'd leave when the sun came up and you'd come back when the sun came down. Nobody knew where the hell you were. But you knew what you were doing. You weren't getting in any trouble. You were finding shit to do. I understand technology makes it a little easier now to kind of drift off into your, doom scrolling, as people say. Everybody does it. You know, do I think that kids should be without social media completely? No. Do I think there should be a healthy dose of activity, physical activity before? Yeah. Child obesity is at an all-time high. An all-time high. Kids are fat, man. They're fat because they're eating shit food. They're eating processed food. And I understand that the food is inexpensive, but it's set up that way. It's set up to make this country sick. Yeah, I'll go to McDonald's and I'll get a $2 burger. A $2 burger, let's get 4. Wendy's. Processed cookies. Listen, I am definitely part of that whole sweets regime. I can't see a chocolate chip cookie without eating it. Sugar is my downfall, and I know that. The whole process in the foods is what's killing us too. Processed foods. The whole process is put something in there that's going to addict our bodies to whatever's in it. We're so unhealthy. In our youth, that's where it starts. Again, when we were kids, we had to go into school and we had to do sit-ups. We had to do push-ups. We had to do whatever your school's protocol was for the physical fitness test. You had to do it in a certain time. And if you didn't, at least you did it. Learn about nutrition. Fine. Obama administration came in 2013 and got rid of it, made it voluntary and mostly about nutrition. Fine. Voluntary part, no. If you want to teach kids about nutrition and not give them the physical fitness aspect of it, because the fact that not everybody is as physically fit as the other, maybe that's the reason why. But it's okay. Everybody learns at different levels. Everybody gets physically fit at different levels. How many times have you seen these kids when they're young? I coached baseball. All these young kids hitting home runs when they're 10 years old. Some kids can barely get out of the infield. 14, 15 years old, same kid. Or better. There's growth spurts. But they have to do something with their physical abilities in order to not get fat also. So they got to eat right, got the nutrition part down. Also, you got to exercise. And, you got parents out there that ban social media. You can't have a phone. It's fine. But that's the way you choose to parent your kids. But this is a day and age where people have some kind of outlet for social media. It's not all bad. But there is a time frame where they should be using it at a young age. And as an adult, you should set yourself on a time frame. Go out for that run instead of doom scrolling. I know you guys are tired from work because I'm tired from work. I work 2 jobs. Tired. I still manage to get out there in the morning and do my push-ups and sit-ups. I'm not getting any younger. I try to eat okay. Trying to figure out what's wrong with me, if there is something wrong, because I want to be healthy. And the president right now incorporating that into the school system again is just saying to me that you have a problem with that, parents, just because Donald Trump said that, then you just got a problem with that person no matter what he says. You're going to go against it. Because we have a regime of people right now that are up here in this Northeast area. And it's going on over there in California too. And, other states trying to get, a little socialism going on in this country, a little communism going on in this country. I mean, it's crazy, right? I was going to go into something now about the Epstein files a little bit. I'm not going to go too much into that because I feel I spoke about that too much and everybody's talking about it. do think there's a little something weird about the Epstein files. And somebody brought this to my attention the other day, and might sound like a conspiracy theory. I like my conspiracy theories. I know everybody thinks Donald Trump is on the Epstein list because he's on the flight logs. A lot of people on the flight logs. A lot of very popular, very famous people are on the flight logs. A lot of people trying to distance themselves from those flight logs. Bill Clinton was on that plane, I don't know, 50 times. Trump was on the plane. I don't know, you name your big actor, your big, you know, your singers, your entertainers, they were there. I'm sure they weren't always there for the same reason. But what I do think is Donald Trump has some dirt. 60 plus countries in the last couple of weeks have renegotiated their tariff agreements with the United States of America. Now, I'm not going to talk about this as whether tariffs are good or bad. And, I actually think eventually, if we do go through this tariff system, I think eventually stuff maybe will get a little less expensive. I think maybe people will start buying stuff in the United States of America. I have a really crazy view about how I feel about where we are in this world and where we should be. What if you're the president of China and there's a video of you out there having sex with a 13-year-old girl and you're getting all big and tough and you're saying, look, I know you guys are America, but we're China. We're better than you. You can't mess with us. No tariffs. We rule the world. President, whatever his name is over there, we have a video of you doing naughty things. Really? Did you say 50%? How about a 75% tariff? Sure, no problem. Sign that deal. 60 plus countries have renegotiated their deals with President Trump in the United States of America. That means there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of shit to hide. Not that we didn't know that, but everybody's looking at these Epstein files as, oh, he's on it. He's he's a pedophile. Or he's a piece of shit. He should be in jail. Yeah, they all should be. Every single person. But we're looking at it from a perspective of our entertainers. Yeah, we know they're pieces of shit, a lot of them. Yeah, they're probably on that list. The people, Diddy. Anybody thinks that, I cannot believe for a second that they're actually thinking of letting Diddy off of anything. The man beat the shit out of a 20-year-old girl, dragged her through a hotel, kicked her and punched her. That's on video. People saw that. People watched it. It wasn't, it wasn't Notorious B.I.G. with a mask on. That was Puff Daddy beating that woman. He was on trial for doing heinous things to people. He was on trial for mentally abusing people, physically abusing people, human trafficking. And he got off on a lot of that. And at the end of the day, all you really had to do was look at that video to realize that every single thing that he was being accused of is true. Don't tell me that, they're going after certain people because of certain things. Maybe that might be true, but it doesn't take away from the fact that these people are evil. Every time I see Justin Bieber on a video, everybody thinks that's an act. It's not an act, guys. That kid is fucked up, man. Britney Spears. Her name hasn't been brought up in any of this, Epstein stuff, but she's fucked up from Hollywood, from the music industry. Meek Mill made one of the hardest rap songs, hip hop songs ever. There's a video of him squealing from Puff Daddy. These are the people that are pure evil in this world. Epstein's pure evil. Everybody that was there for terrible reasons. They're terrible people too. Every time you think about something and you think about life and how Ah, look how good, how nice life is. You're doing the right thing. You have a family. Love my family to death. I would never do anything to hurt them. I would do anything. I would die for my children. It's just like that's, but then there's people out there that do things to their own children. They do things to other people. There's going to be names that come out on this list that we're just going to be like, wait a second, who's that? Yeah, exactly. Who's that? This is the thing that's pushing these narratives and running the world. So all these people that want this world money, human trafficking, guys, using humans for sex slaves. Do you even realize how terrible that sounds? And I don't understand why we can't try and just focus as a country on who's making laws to protect those interests. Well, it's a Republican, but we're Democrats. We can't vote. Oh, it's a Democrat. We're Republicans. We can't vote. How about everybody? And I understand this is not, I know Democrats may not, well, why don't we do it a couple of years ago when our guy was in office? Well, it's getting crazy now, man. It's getting crazy to a point where we don't even want to listen to each other if we know their party affiliation. How about today? We start thinking about the fact that let's get rid of party affiliations. Let's start coming together as people who have empathy and sympathy for other people and realize that there's a lot of very, very powerful people out there that are making decisions for people and they have no repercussions from it. All these people getting silenced. Why are they getting silenced? Why are you silent? If you're silent and have something on somebody, that means that that's somebody that you're being silent. They have something on you. It's a vicious cycle. Oh, I just didn't want to say anything. That's not the right answer anymore, man. Anybody out there knows stuff. Let's go. Ice Cube, fighting good fight, man. I hope one day nothing comes out about him, but you listen to him all the time. Everybody thinks he's crazy. He's not crazy. Cat Williams, everybody thinks he's crazy. He's not crazy. Mel Gibson's not crazy. Well, Mel Gibson might be a little crazy. But what he's saying, why aren't we looking into these things? There's a documentary by Mel Gibson and Jim Caviezel that came out. Where is it? That thing should be shown to every single American. There's stuff going on in Thailand right now that's heinous. There's stuff happening to actual human beings around the world. You're ripping off Barstool. All right, Ramo. How your name is? Ripping off Barstool. As a matter of fact, you just said something. Family. You're right. Family. Family is the thing. And that's what they're trying to get away from, dude. If you want to see what's going on in New York City right now, because I don't really know, where you're from or whatever, but that is kind of what I'm getting to. You got this guy Mandani running for New York City mayor. I left New York City a long time ago. I live upstate New York. Kathy Hochul is here. Can't stand her either. That's why my escape plan for New York State is in operation as we speak. There's 4 people that are running for New York City mayor. You got good old Zohan. Now, I just dug up a couple of things on the Zohan that if you're thinking about voting for this guy in New York City, you should have your head examined. And if I could put it into perspective of you idiots on the left, I don't even say Democrats, I just say idiots on the left. If you listen to some of this rant and raving about some of these people that are backing this Mandani, this socialist / communist agenda, you should have your head checked. There's actually people out there. How about this? There's actually people out there. It's actually homosexual people out there that are putting people in office that if they had their way, they'd probably have them killed because of the way they live their lives. But yeah, Trump's mean. Zohan. I'm going to get into him in a second. Curtis, Guardian Angel Sliwa. Every year he tries to throw his beret into it. Okay, beret hat. Nothing's going to happen with that guy. Look, I get it. He's tough. He wants to just beat everybody up, which is great. He wants to just kick everybody's ass, which is great. Get everything off the streets. That's fine too. He's not going to win. Then you got, good old Andrew Cuomo taking a step back. Resigned, which I think he resigned because he called a couple of women honey and baby. But that's just my opinion. But people in nursing homes, I'm sure, don't like him too much. A lot of nursing homes in New York City. So he's not a big, there's a lot of people that had family members in those nursing homes that really aren't a fan of his much. Mayor Adams. What are you doing, dude? Let's go. Let's do what you do, man. Shut this chick up. Hochul's talking a lot of stuff about you, man. Saying you're turning your back on the Democratic Party. So the guy Mondani talking about you. Cuomo saying he's got no shot. Yo, you're the mayor right now, man. Let's take care of business. You know what I'm saying? You do know what I'm saying. He's going to probably go back to being a drug dealer or something after this or whatever it is he does. But why not just leave him? Leave him in power. He'll fight the good fight, I guess, against people that he doesn't agree with. And, he'll kind of keep the migrants out. He'll fight the sanctuary city thing a little bit. Because if you let this guy Mondani become the mayor of New York City, it's going to be the worst New York City that anybody is used to in a long time. I was a kid in the 70s. My dad was a cop in the 70s in New York City. You had your A-beams and you had your people, like that. Koch was actually kind of a liberal-minded guy, but he was actually pretty good. You had Dinkins back in the day. New York City has never really been known for its mayors. Giuliani cleaned up the mafia a little bit, I guess. Took our car, took everybody's cars when they were drunk driving. What do you mean you're taking my car? I told you don't drive drunk. We're gonna take your car. Had that Gestapo mentality. Bloomberg came in and tried to make New York City business-like, turned 42nd Street into, instead of hookers and porn shops, turned it into like Disneyland. Then all of a sudden he's starting to see all these characters running around Disneyland. Like, take a picture with Mickey and Minnie. Yeah, Mickey and Minnie. Where's your green card? Yeah, Mickey and Minnie. Are you a child molester? Then all of a sudden it starts changing again. Then de Blasio comes. Oh my God. That was a disaster. Now we're talking about the Zohan. Now you want to go into people who back certain candidates and say, that's who that guy is. All that rhetoric about people backing Trump a couple of years ago about, all these militias backing him, and you say the KKK backs him, which is not true. Or people with racist agendas back Trump. Take a listen to one of these, one of these people, one of these groups that are backing the Zohan. There was a conference, all right? This is real, and it's going to sound outrageous, just like there's a lot of real outrageous right-hand conferences as well. They say crazy shit. This is America. People are allowed to say whatever they want. I truly believe that free speech is of the utmost importance in America. Utmost important. Without free speech, none of the other amendments or the Bill of Rights or the Constitution, you name your laws that we go by in this country, without free speech, none of that happens. It's paramount. There's a conference called the Socialism Conference of 2025. It took place in Chicago. This is a group that's backing Mondani. As a matter of fact, at this conference, they were praising this guy, how he won the Democratic primary, how he's going to be the next mayor of New York City, Chicago, New York City, Cincinnati. Pick your liberal bullshit baby mayor cities. That's what we're going to become. All of a sudden, it's going to be okay for a group of black people to beat up a family and have them say that it's not a racial incident, to say it was a fight. 'Cause you don't want to have that unwanted, stigma on your city that happens, absolutely happens. This is what happens when you get this mentality into your city. There's a panel that wants to destroy the family, destroy the traditional family, which, look, the traditional family today is not like the traditional family was back then, but it's still family. I understand, like, a lot of people aren't into the whole gay marriage thing and them adopting children. In my eyes, that's still a family. Just because it's two men and two women raising somebody, raising a child whose parents didn't want them, whose mom didn't want them. They were put up for adoption for a reason. Traditional family. Traditional family, that just means to me, you're good parents and you're raising your child as a good member of society. These people are trying to say that the traditional family is racist, capitalist. It should be done away with. Children are being used as vehicles, as property. They want to abolish the family. Montani just got married the other day. That's pretty traditional, right? He's also got a lot of money. Look, he makes, what he makes, 140 something thousand a year being an assemblyman. Who knows what, left organizations are feeding this agenda. He basically wants us to run this country like it's a big commune, which is what somebody else said at this conference. I'm not going to give these people the legitimacy of a name, but this is an agenda that we're fighting. Now, look, I'm talking about this agenda that's an extreme left. I could have somebody coming on here and tell me there's an agenda on the extreme right. Of course there is. I'm saying it again, and I feel like I have to say it like I say it all the time. I voted for Donald Trump. Do I agree with everything that's going on in the White House right now with the United States of America? No. Do I think that this stuff being handled in a way that could be handled differently? Absolutely. That still doesn't take away from the fact that I voted for Donald Trump. And I'll deal with that shit. But he is our president. I did vote for him, and I'll do it again. But there's a lot of people on that extreme right, Christian nationalists maybe, or people that want to inject the church into us, and people that want to tell us what to do with our bodies, and people want to tell us that we can't, get married because, you're gay and, you're going to hell. And just as that left agenda sounds like that to people, that sounds like that to people as well. How many of you in this world are very confused by your party right now? You're very confused because they're telling you a bunch of stuff and they're focusing on the stuff that's going to get you, yes, going to get you mad. It's going to be, yeah, fuck those migrants. And yeah, exactly. Don't tell me what I could do to my body. And yeah, transgender. I'm going to chop my dick off. Yeah, I don't care. It's like all these agendas being put out there. And at the end of the day, America's in trouble. It really is. There's a loud voice on the left and there's a loud voice on the right. Free speech and don't tell me what I can and can't do with my body. That's what these guys want, right? That's what everybody wants. But there's got to be something in the middle that says, all right, maybe you don't agree with that. And maybe you agree with this, but we got to come to the middle. Again, I keep telling you, I lost friendships with people because I believe a certain way, not knowing that I actually understand how they feel, but it's not that goddamn important to me. My family's a lot more important. My safety's a lot more important. A lot more important. Okay. Big news. Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin are going to get together in Alaska. They might invite Zelensky. They may not. But I think he should be there because that's literally what they're going to be talking about. What if this is just a ploy to get Putin on American soil and arrest him. Putin's not that stupid. Guy's murdered a lot of people. You want to look at leaders that are bad people, like, Vladimir Putin, like that's a bad guy. Donald Trump just talks out of the side of his mouth sometimes. Donald Trump just tells the truth sometimes. Is he a narcissist? Possibly. Maybe. I think so. Some people might say he's not. But I think that his narcissism and his drive to be the best and to tell people what he's going to do and follow through, yeah, I think that's a good thing. That's a good quality of a president. And then do I think he loves America? Absolutely. Do I think this left-leaning agenda loves America? Absolutely not. These Columbia professors, these Ivy League professors pumping an agenda to these kids with these young minds. They're like sponges. Then all of a sudden they're out there running around trying to burn the American flag, and then they get the shit beat out of them by a Marine. I'm like, wait, where's my professor? It has to stop. It makes me very sad. Go ahead, New York. Go ahead. I like this guy. Tell you one thing. I'm going to be retiring from my job soon, and I'm getting the hell out of New York in general. Possibly sell my house. I'd like to sell my house, but I'll tell you right now, I'm waiting till that guy becomes the mayor. Everybody in New York City that didn't vote for him, within a month, you're going to be running out of New York. That flea from New York City, if he becomes the mayor, is going to be worse than the COVID flea. Remember when we were lied to? Yeah. Yeah, COVID, when we were lied to. I got the vaccine. Got it. You don't get that vaccine, you're going to die. If you don't get that vaccine, if you get the vaccine, you're never going to get COVID. Don't worry about it. Yeah. How many people having complications from that shit now? From a lie. So, you want to say Trump, again, he's a bully. You want to say Trump, he says things that are crazy. You want to say Trump is an asshole. Yeah, but you know what? I don't think he's a liar. I just don't. And people right now probably listen to me right now going, I can't look at you. You're a sheep. But no, I don't think he's a liar. I think we've been being lied to for the last 4 years. And I think the fact that that election was fixed, and I think it was a good thing that it was fixed, because if Trump won that election in 2020, what the hell were we going to do now? We need that man right now. We need people like RFK. We need people like Tulsi Gabbard. Now, listen, Tulsi Gabbard's going on. Tulsi Gabbard is going a little too far with one thing. Not that I don't think she's right. Not that I don't think she's right. This prosecution of Obama. Everybody knows if they go after Obama and Obama is sitting up there on the stand trying to say that, stick up for himself and saying that I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I'm not a bad guy, I was just the president, everybody loved me. And they put him on trial, this country will be over. Over. Think about every single one of these instances that racially divide our country, all wrapped up into one in every single state, in every single city, in every day. They go after Obama. It's not going to be, all right, well, let's look at the facts. Let's look at not the facts. It's going to be they arrested the first Black president. Are we ready for that? No. I'm not. That's crazy to say. I want to push forward with all this stuff. I want to push forward with all this racial shit. Family in Cincinnati, I felt so bad for them. Now look, maybe the guy did say the N-word, father. I don't know. I don't know. That video showed two men fighting. Even one more fighting. Let's just play devil's advocate here and say that man called the other man the N-word. Completely out of line. Guy punches him in the face. They start rolling around fighting. Maybe one of his buddies takes umbrage to it and says, let me punch the son, whatever. They got jumped. They got beat up because of the color of their skin. And if nobody sees that, nobody wants to have that conversation and say that because they're scared. Wake the fuck up, because we are never, ever going to go forward until we realize the color of each other's skin is irrelevant to the fact that we need to start getting along and stop cowtailing to an agenda that says the color of our skin makes us different. No, look inside people. And if you fall into that, you're a weak minded person. Nobody wants to be told that they're weaker than somebody else. And that's what's going on. And it's been going on for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. Years. I had somebody on TikTok tell me, and mind you, this is somebody that worked in my union for a very long time. Well-known racist in my union. He's a black man. I'm not going to mention his name. I have a video on TikTok where I talked about American history and, where I learned certain things. And this, he starts to tell me that if you know so much about American history, what do you know about Jim Crow laws? I read up on Jim Crow laws. I know what it was. I know what it is. I know what it did. It was wrong. And then proceed to tell me how dumb I was because of my white privilege. I thought to myself for a second, white privilege. Why do we even get mad when somebody says that to us? I'm just asking. It's not true. That was true, Remember that skit from Saturday Night Live in like the 80s with Eddie Murphy? Eddie Murphy dressed up like the white guy, got on the bus, black guy gets on the bus, black guy gets off, and everybody starts cheering, having a party. Wait, you think that's how it is? You think my life wasn't any difficult than somebody else's because of the color of their skin? I don't know. I'd say there's a lot of people out there that have a different color skin than other people, and they've had a pretty difficult life. Do I think that there's been laws in the past and laws right now that do hold people back because of the color of their skin? Absolutely. And that as white people, we have to get past. We have to start getting away from the visual of looking at somebody before we even getting to know them. At the end of the day, guys, that's what it's about, man. They want this to happen, and they really want us to be separate and be in our own clans and our own tribes. It's this way they can control us. America, fuck that. Let's all get together and tell the government that we're not happy with this. I don't care what he is. I don't care what she is. We're Americans and we're mad. That's it. All right, guys, that's the Mostly Sports Talk Show, and I'm going to deal with Barstool because Sam and the Ram, both 1-3, have brought it to my attention that I guess somebody from Barstool has the same name as the Mostly Sports Show. Well, I'm going to have to contact that person, and maybe he's going to get this video. And as a matter of fact, cease and desist may not be that bad. I may have to change the name, but somebody's going to know who the fuck I am. The Mostly Sports Talk Show on Keep Talking 365 at YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, guys, every Sunday.